Good morning, brave souls. It's another day and we are in the beautiful Lopez Island, Hunter Bay on anchor, and it is absolutely stunning. I'm gonna take you guys up top. Today we're gonna head back over to Anacortes so that we can have access to our storage unit to put a few more bits and bobs on the boat. Searle's gonna work on that. Yeah, that's the news for today. So let's get this show on the road. We're gonna fire up the engine and we're gonna head back over to Anacortes. I'm hoping we can get these sails up. Searle has been procrastinating. I'm like, let's put the sails up today. I'm not sure why he's doing that. I think that he's still wanting to do a lot of engine work and I'm really wanting to do some sailing. So, Clash of the Titans. So that's the sound of the Belmar belt. I think the Belmar belt is off of the engine and the alarm is, I don't actually know. What's that alarm, hun?
Smoke alarm.
Smoke alarm, that's fun. So the belt burned up. We are now just sitting and bobbing around in the water. Searle knew this was gonna happen because the alignment on the Belmar is off, so he has another belt ready to rock. Huh, Searle? Woo, it smells.
Everything's very hot right now, so I'm scared.
Okay, be careful. Do you need any help?
No, I don't see how.
What Searle has done is, in preparation of this, he put a couple of belts in position and zip tied them on so none of the hoses for the engine have to be removed. I'd go down there and show you. I guess I can. I'm a little bit concerned to leave the helm. All right, I'll show you what he's doing down there real quick, and then I'm gonna head back up to the helm and keep an eye out for other boats because we are no longer underway.
Ow, ow, ow.
Oh, careful.
Got hot coolant dripping on me.
Do you need a towel? Okay, there's the old belt. All right, you guys, I'm gonna head back up to the helm and just keep a lookout. Whew, smoky. All right, we're looking pretty good. Poodle's keeping a lookout, so I think we're gonna be fine. The good news is that we knew this was gonna happen, so we're fixing it, and then onward we go. Okay, there's the carnage of our belt. How you doing down there?
It's fine, it's just somehow it like really twisted itself onto this.
Do you need a knife?
No, that would.
We're a good amount from shore. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the ferry is over there and we're out of the ferry terminal, which is fantastic. Actually broke the belt in a pretty good spot. We're making half a knot right now. We're just kind of flopping around. But I think that we have enough time to let Searle fix the belt before we drift into shore. Yeah, we're out of the channel, so that's good. It's got it running again. Woohoo! Thumbs up. How we doing? Get the dinghy ready for a hip tow if we needed to, but it doesn't look like we need to. Searle still looks concerned down there, so that's never good. Fingers crossed.
Another small little project that I've been putting off for a while is hooking up the navigation lights on the push put. So we mounted those while the boat was still on the hard, and we ran the wires into the anchor locker. Now I just need to run it between the anchor locker and the mast base, the main mast base where the main bus bar is, because there's a set of navigation lights adjoined with the anchor light. So just hook it up in line with the rest of those. So it will turn on with the same switch. This is the anchor locker access. The base, the anchor locker is over there. So I say all the weight of all the anchor chains sits about this point, which is at the top bunk. We are going to be modifying this as well as gaining access to the bobstay internal backing plate and replacing that with something new and fresh. Here you can see the wire that is run through to the push-put navigation lights. This just needs to be run down, where you can see this older wire and hose runs down in that corner, and the windlass power wires. Run that down and then it should pop up underneath here, and then it'll be easy to run because we have access to the base of the mast. Feeding this wire down has been quite problematic, so this is going to be my solution. Got an end of a hose pipe here, nice and heavy. Tape the line to it. Hopefully it cannot get stuck on the way down. This is the 12-2. I've got the spool in the actual bilge where the wiring for the mast is. Snaked it underneath everywhere. Now I'm just going to use some butt connectors. Secure these together. Probably give it a good wrap of electrical tape. And then I can start from the anchor locker side, work my way back with wire management. I don't always use electrical tape, but I'll use electrical tape when things are lying in the bilge. Don't really like this stuff. It does just give you that extra line of protection. The wires inside the anchor locker have now been organized, secured together with the windlass wires. Hopefully there'll be enough strength between that. At the moment there is only one section of chain, 300 feet in here, which will be perfectly fine, but as soon as we upgrade later down the line and have a second anchor set up, we will need to make some improvements for wire management. This is the wiring bus bar by the main mast. We have our new wire run forward. I'm going to turn on the navigation lights and just take a voltmeter and figure out which one I need to put a ring terminal on. Starting at the top, we've got nothing really. Next one, 13 volts on the second line, so that must be running lights. And there we go. I'll throw a cable tie on there, and then I'll wait till it gets dark and I'll show you the results outside. It is dark, it is windy, it is cold, but I'm gonna take you for a little trip around the boat on the dinghy to look at the new navigation lights now that they're installed and working. We have it named running lights, not navigation lights. It is cold! Doing this for you guys. So there you can see starboard at both the top of the mast and at the end of the bowsprit. The boat keeps turning as I'm trying to see the red. So this is directly in front, which is kind of interesting. You can see that the top of the mast navigation lights is not visible because of the mast head. So I'm very happy that we've got those installed on the bowsprit. The visibility is very high. As you can see, as we come around the port side, the masthead light is coming back into visibility, and you can see we got our red and red there. I must say the anchor light is more in effect on the starboard port side. But there you go, your red and red. And there you can see the incandescent stern light, which isn't a directional light. it just kind of throws light all over. It's very like old-fashioned, but it's not good for whoever's on the helm because that light is spread up onto the bimini, which reflects down. Something that we've been putting off since we splashed and been living on a dock is that we haven't been needing solar, but now we're living on the anchor and the sun is actually creeping out for a change here in Washington. So we've got a few things to install. So the solar panels you have seen been installed, Salem and myself tackling that project, just because we had the arches up and didn't want to deal with the panels sitting on deck, so I had to get mounted, and that's been what feels like 6 months ago. So from the solar panels coming into the boat, you got to use some breakers just to protect those wires running from the solar panels to the charge controller, and these are 32 amp and they're rail mount style, so it's going to be quite easy and modular. So this is a rail, just mount that up, and those breakers actually just clip in. I'll show you with some footage, but also need to run some power posts for positive and negative from the battery to where the charge controllers are installed, and from each charge controller to the power post they will have a 40 amp breaker installed. Rail installed underneath the bed, and now you can see these breakers. You can just press it on. There it's on. On the inside of the other side, I think we're gonna install these two down here, and the power posts are installed. So the power posts are installed underneath the bed. Now we just need to run wire from the helm station where the shunt is to the back room, and I've got some of this Duo 6.2. So here we have the breakers that go between the MPPT and the battery. Here we have the breakers from the solar panels that will go to the MPPT. Okay, so behind us, solar panels wise, we have two 200 watts. These are the two front ones, and at the back there we've got two 100 watts. How we have it wired is that the two 200 watts are wired in parallel and they go to their own charge controller, and the two 100 watts are wired in parallel and run to their own charge controller. These are Renogy panels, so they complement the rest of our system pretty well. Both sets of cables run down here, and we have one of these Blue Sea cable clamshells. That is fantastic. So now to put it down, you got a rubber gasket that goes down, this goes on top, but I always like to put an extra line, and got some life seal here. Hell yeah. So just remember, put the rubber piece in the freezer, and I used a step drill. This isn't ideal because there's 4 wires and these are really designed just to clamp around one. So what I do is I throw a bit of this life seal on the wires and then slide it to the position. So when it does clamp, at least there's some silicone in between. Time to get messy. In the ideal world, you would want to use a gooseneck fitting for something like this, but we're not in the ideal world. Okay. line up the holes nicely. Then use the given hardware. I hope this is going to be nice and forgiving given the thickness of the wires. So now you kind of just work your way around, crisscross tightening to get that gland to clamp down on those wires as tight as possible without stripping these nuts. Trim ring, push that down, and there you have it. Gland sealed up with a trim ring. Now I still have enough wire to do one more section tied in over there. So it's the next day. By the time I finished the wiring yesterday, it was dark and there was nothing to really test with. So you can see today it is pretty overcast. Anyway, let's go down and check what we're getting out of the MPPTs. So you can see here, charge controller on the right hand side is the two 200 watt panels wired in parallel, and the MPPT on the left hand side is the two 100 watt panels, and you can see it's almost split in half. One of the main things with having a catch rig vessel is you're going to be dealing with shading on panels no matter what you do, unless you build a large tower off the stern of the boat, then you get midday without having any shading. But yeah, so you have to wire things in parallel, because even a stay cutting across wide in series is going to make a huge difference.
What are you doing?
I've created my shopping list. This is how you go hardware shopping with explanations. I'm having difficulty with that word today.
Explanations or exclamation?
Both. How about that?
Okay, why don't you take them to the store and tell them what you're going to get?
So why we had to go run and grab some other bolts is because we are trying to put a starter on the outboard, and it came with a different bracket that holds the starter, which has slightly thicker dimensions, so I needed to just upsize everything by about a 1/4 inch, in some cases about a 1/2 inch. Aubrey's coming back soon and I need to get the other outboard on the dinghy and working. But I can't problem solve without testing, but I need to hook up another fuel tank for it, and I need to get it on the dinghy. So the first step is to run some new fuel hose under the deck of the boat. It's one of those high fuel tank in the bow locker, and because it is going to be in the bow locker, I'm going to put a quick disconnect on the actual tank side, so you can still take the tank in and out when necessary. Got another fuel bulb and whole handful of hose clamps. Yeah. Other than that, it is too choppy outside, so I'm gonna have to take all these items with me into the dock and go do it shoreside, where there's a little protected marina. So with the fuel tank up in front, you need to plumb it underneath the floor. You can see they've given you a line to feed it through. Run it down under the floor and it'll pop up over here for the outboard. So I'll just feed this end in. I should be able to pull on here. There we go. 1/4 inch MPT that will go in here, and then this is its female part, and this is for 3/8 and 5/16 hose. Now figure out how long to cut this pipe and install a primer bulb. So this is how much hose is left. I bought a 15-foot section, so if you're looking to do this yourself, 15 feet's pretty good. I plan on adding a filter somewhere on the transom, maybe up in this corner. So I'm gonna try not trim it down. Also, this other outboard that we got, the fuel connection is on the far side. So when you go full clock that way, that's gonna have to be able to reach around the corner there. Anyway, I'm gonna install the fuel bulb about halfway up this section here.
So what are we doing here?
Swapping this invisible, very well camouflaged outboard for the one that clearly does work but lacks electric start.
Aha. Oh boy.
And that's how you remove it.
Okay.
Stand it up like that.
Goal is to not drop it in the water. Okay.
That's what the brief said.
Look with your back, not your legs. Okay. Oh. Okay. Don't let it go though.
That's fine.
You got it? Well, what do you say? Is that how you center it?
Now we have a invisible outboard.
Can't even see it.
That's not good.
Uh-oh. All right, so.
Problem. And we need to find a solution. So West Marine's the place.
Here we are again.
This new fuel filter cost, I think, 12 bucks off Amazon. Next day it arrived. The previous one, the moment you press the priming bulb, the bowl at the bottom shot off and all the fuel just gushed out. So that was a quick, easy fix, and the engine hasn't skipped a beat since. Two-stroke power.
Hey, here we are coming into the fuel dock. Man, the tide is low. Fueling up the old ding dong. Poodle, you're just waiting for cookies at all the stops, aren't you? Our darling girl is in the mud.
She's a beached whale.
Can you see, easy, can you see her rudder out of the water there? It's fine though, it's all muddy. It's a muddy bottom. Wow, look at that. Oh my gosh, can you guys see this?
On the LED light.